What's up, everybody? This is Daxon here, Weaver Family Farms. So I just wanted to make a short little video, and most likely be in different parts as we're working on our workshop here. It is a super mess. We're totally reorganizing our garage, which used to be half a workshop, and everything else you have, like your gas cans and your camping stuff and baseball bats, and just everything most people put in their garage. And so we started bringing tools out here. Again, it's a mess, but you see how much we don't have done. Almost have the insulation done and all of it. The ceiling is fully done. If you've watched some of our other videos, I'm definitely not a drywall pro, but so far pretty good, besides the very first piece that got broke there pretty good. And then there's some gaps up in there, but I'll put trim over it or caulk it or something, and it'll be better. But anyway, this video is about this workbench. This is the first step I did earlier. It's going to measure about 25 inches from the wall out. Now I have my door here, so it's kind of cutting it close. However, there's two studs right here at the back of the door, and there's nothing else. So I had to make this just long enough to where I can angle it in and hit that, and then I'll have my last outside board set in here. So you'll see I have about an inch or inch and a half or so spare back. Door should be able to open fine and everything, but this is going to be a fully floating workbench. I have my camera zoomed out right now, so it might make everything small, but I can fit things in better here. But this is our building's 20 by 24. And this first bench I'm trying to put in so I can set everything on and get it out of my way to, be able to do the rest. But anyway, this will be fully floating, and this is 24 foot. And I went through their studs. Their studs are 2 foot apart in here. Went through and put a 3-inch screw. So I have about 1.5 inches into the stud and 1.5 inches of the screw used here. Plus, I suck them in a little bit, but have this all through here. I measured it. It is 40 inches right to the top of this. So that's going to determine, on how tall of a person you are, what you're going to use it for. I kind of wanted it at the perfect height, which for me, it's right about on my belly button. I want to be able to, sit in kind of a bar stool chair up here and work with stuff, or be able to stand and still be comfortable. Now, this workbench, I call it a workbench, but that might mean something different to everybody. I'm going to be using this, let's see, for example, to put my scroll saw on, and my, oh my goodness, my router table, and some of the other stuff, so there's plenty of room here. Have it a few feet per tool, plug them in. They'll have their full power. They should all end up on different circuits, because I have so many different circuits set up in here, so I don't ever have too much of a load on one thing. But this is going to be floating anyway, which basically means I will have to do something similar to this under that, figure out how I'm going to have my angles, and boards will angle up like this and come out to support the outer edge, and then we'll have a board run horizontally flat, set up on top of here, and then I believe I'll go through and just screw a board on there. You'll see when I get there kind of what I have in mind. I've looked up some different images on Google, kind of have in my head what I want to do if I can just figure out my angles right to be able to support this. So I'm going to stop jibber jabbing for now, enough talk, and try to get some done here. All right, so now I'm to the point of deciding what I want to do with this. I don't really like how this is all the way out on the end, because this is 25 inches, like I said before, the length of that. But I really want a faceboard on here, but my faceboard is going to be tucked down here. So I'm probably going to have to end up getting 2x6s for the front, or double up to 2x4s or something. But I really need to cut this back to this, which is 23.5 inches or something like that. Then go through and screw this down, and then I can start running my supports out from there. All right, so I got this screwed here, pretty well flush with this one on the end. This is spacer to make it all the same height height across. So when I go through and put screws into the top, whether I use, OSB or some other kind of plywood or something. I have this piece. This piece really isn't very strong by itself. I have 2 screws down into that. Once again, the 3-inch screws. But this is where my first support will be, and it'll be 3 foot. Center of this to this, 3 foot. And I'll have these ones I cut too short for something else earlier. But these will be angled, hooking onto the board down there that's gonna still has to go on the wall. And if you can imagine, this will angle up, and I'll have it screw in somewhere right here while holding this top one level, and that will be support. Some cut them to do like that, cut your angle off the top of that so it sets kind of flat on there with your angles. The way I'm going to do it, like I said, is put one of these on each side. So I will get to that. All right, so I'm back again. It's been another, 30, 45 minutes or so. I'm down at the other end now. Down there's the door. I've been starting going and putting these on, just 2 screws to hold this. And again, these pieces that are sitting right here don't really do very much. Basically, all they're doing is filling up the gap on top of this one sitting on its side, hooked to the wall. So that way when you like I said earlier, or at least I think I said, when you go put your top on there, you have a whole flat surface to connect to. And then I'll probably be getting a 2x6 or 2x8 or something to be my face board to run along the ends. It just looks better and helps support it. Been working on my angles, and I am horrible at angles. I've tried and tried. I'm gonna have to do some math and asking around probably. I've always been horrible at angles because I need my piece to sit down on there and run up here. So I'm having a little difficulties with that, but I'll figure it out. And again, these are sticking out here right now, not very strong. Just 2 screws holding that. But once you get that angle piece running here, I'll probably try to put it like right here, not all the way to the end, but close, because I want to have a nice angle there. But anyway, that's what it is. Showing like that. Looks a little weird now. And these are like 30.5 inches. I just had a board that long, and that's pretty close to what I wanted, so I went with it. I was gonna do 30 inches, but like I said, I already had a board and just started duplicating that for 30.5 inches. And this is 23.5 inches is how far those stick out. But I think that's it for now. I will be back later. All right, so I finally pretty well got the angles figured out. Down here I did 55-degree angle and a 35-degree angle, which comes up to 90. So that's one thing I learned. Everything has to come out to 90 basically when it comes to corners like this. And also, instead of what they do, I think they call it like a bird cut or bird something. I guess they're using roofing. I'm doing it the other way, so I made a point instead of recessed like I was trying to before. And I'll try to add the picture of my horrible cut in the video. I can't remember if I showed it or not. But that rests there. And then I brought this up here and make sure this is level. I'll have to level that out, and then I'll put screws into it. I really wanted that corner to come all the way up, so I'm not sure how I messed that up. I think it's because my board needs to be longer. I ended up going a little too short. I'm not going to screw this in yet though, because I want to be able to use it as a pattern on my other ones. All right, so it is another day now, 2 days later actually. I was busy yesterday, but anyway, I just got the first piece put on here. Pretty excited, and it is actually really strong with just one. Like, I would feel comfortable setting on top of this right here if it was possible for me to sit on here. And right there you can see I got it pretty level. Basically, here's that 45-degree cut, and I can't remember what these two were, but they fit pretty good. Now, if I actually cut this one back a little bit farther, I'm sure there wouldn't be this little ledge hanging over. However, it's not doing nothing, and I just put whatever they call those, toenail or T or whatever, down in there with the screw going down at an angle through the side. It didn't come through over there. And these are 3-inch screws, so it should have come down here pretty good. That screw's not really doing a whole lot though, besides holding this straight, to where all the pressure is pushing 1 against the wall and 2 down here against that. So I mean, it is very sturdy. And I was going to actually see if I can get back over here. One of my first ones that was a mess up, and I can't remember which one that was, but it kind of fit under it. And even though it looks weird, hold on a second here. Let me see if this was it. It must not have been, but I had one that fit under it like that, and I was actually going to screw the 2 of them together. Now, even though it looked weird from out here, you know, if you were paying attention to it or not. But that's kind of how that would be. Wish I could figure out the piece, and now that I've screwed that in there, it probably ain't gonna matter anyway. But realistically, what I need to do, I guess, is come over here with another piece somehow and screw in like that. Now this one doesn't look exactly the same. It's not gonna be that big deal to me, you know, so far as this is one of the first ones I did. So obviously my cut is weird there. But it seats down in there nicely, so I could probably go ahead and screw that in there and, you know, be good with it. But that's it for this part. I'll see you a little later on. So I figured I better do an update before I got too carried away with this. I'm just getting so excited to be able to have this and get everything off the floor. Plus, this is the first time I've ever actually built a floating workbench, you would call it, a wall mounted, whatever. So I went ahead and got this is just OSB right now. These are $30 a sheet. About a year ago, before Corona and everything, these were like $10 or $11 a sheet. This is the one that's a little over 1/2 inch, 1932, I think is what it is. So 8 foot, and then it'll probably be like a 7.5 foot piece down there at the very end. This is gonna be a very long workbench. I'm very excited. Now, of course, cutting plywood absolutely perfect isn't something I consider easy, especially when it's by myself holding it and I ain't got nothing special. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a gap there, which that's okay to be able to brush dust and stuff behind it. But I more or less wanted the front of this pulled to be flush with my 2x4 I'll put here. This is my face board. And then again, look under it, all this space. Got a lot of the beams done, and this is really strong. I might even go through and add more just for the heck of it, because I'm gonna have, you know, heavy stuff like tools and things like that on there we're gonna be using. So pretty important to be able to hold a lot of weight. But right now I think it could hold, you know, easily 100 pounds on every single one of these. So it could probably hold 500, 600, 700 pounds so far, just with what we have. And I'm debating adding one of these over here somehow on the side. I don't think it'll need it. However, with this board, I barely was able to get the stud back in there by angling it really hard. So maybe not a bad idea to put one in there somehow just to help support it. And then I also started going through with, if I can get one here to show you. 1 5/8 inch is what I'm using to put the plywood down into the frame, and I've been using these 3-inch screws, of course, both torque head, star drive, whatever. Is my favorite. A lot of people like them, I think. Hate Phillips screws, but anyway, so those are the 2 sizes I'm using the 3-inch to build everything. You could probably use 3.5 if you wanted to, especially going into the studs. And then the 1 5/8 inch ones, I'm gonna start going through now. Probably need to suck that one down a little bit more, but it's going right down in here into this piece, the face board, and I'll keep on going. All right, guys, so believe it or not, it has been a year since I started this video. I've just been so busy and stuff, and everything just takes time. And yeah, it's still a mess in here. I guess this will be the end of the video, but I just kind of wanted to go back through and actually show what the workbench turned out looking like. And I'm actually in the process right now of going through and finishing the bottom shelf. If you look over there, you can see the bottom shelf along there, another cabinet. I'm doing another video where I show me putting that miter saw into the bench over there, which is a little challenging, but it's definitely worth it. You can see I pretty well have this wrapped all the way around. Obviously, it's not have paint on it, so it looks a little different. You can see there's those angle support boards that we was talking about in the first part of the video. The most frustrating thing about putting this shelf down here is you have to get those notches just right. I hate notching anything anyway. But it works, and if those notches obviously are too big, you can probably put some type of that, well, I have it right here in front of me, believe it or not, here. Just some of this foam around in there and kind of flatten it out, and you can paint over it, and it'll probably take care of that. Just taking this plywood and screwing it down into the support. I try to show my camera up under it. Every now and then I just run one of these boards right here, just for some support. I would really eventually like to have metal on top of these, and I could use some pretty thin metal, more of a protectant, because particle board is particle board. So it does break apart pretty easy, even though I'm using a ton of paint. So just something for me to consider. And I still need I have these supports out here. These ones that are kind of a pinkish color. They're just made out of studs too, but I do one everywhere there's one of these. I screw the board to the back, drop it down. You can see how that one is. And then bring it out down front here. And that's helping hold the weight. I mean, this thing is solid. Very, very, very solid. I'll walk down it real quick. I'll zoom one out so you can hopefully see it. Kind of what it turned out to be, even though, like I said, I ain't got paint on it. And down here, I did leave a spot. I have my big planer on a rolling bench, so I left a space here. I still have to put the top on that. You see, I did a little bit over here. Looks pretty good. But yeah, hopefully this video helped you, even though it took me a year. It's time to make it, but also not, well, about a year ago, wood prices had went through the roof. You know, stud was $10 plus. Now they're back down to under $4, so it's still a little high, but it's doable. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.